Man, there's a lot that I feel like I want to talk about, or we could talk about, just because your history and music and just everything is so vast. And like Bang and I talk a lot about our conversations that we have with you individually and the stories you tell us and the lessons you give us just from like life that you've learned. And now we're here at Groundwaves 4 years in, and I feel like everybody here probably has those same experiences of the stories you tell them, the lessons you've taught them. And was that the intention going in?
Man, I'm glad you asked that. I came into Groundwaves on a humbug, like just, nah, Groundwaves was a humbug, man. It's a long story, but I like to unify Americans. Yeah, I met a fucking cool-ass white dude backstage at the Jimmy Kimmel show. I was a hype man for Atmosphere. We started talking about Fort Collins, Colorado. I was like, yo. He's like, And he's like, yeah, I live on such and such street. And I was like, he named the street all my homies from this gang. And I was like, you live in the hood, bro? He's like, yeah, I've seen it written on the walls. And I was like, no, that's a Crip gang, bro. I was like, oh, let me come to your house to see where you at. And he was on the other side, on the north side of that street. I was like, oh, you good, and he had a bulldog. I just had a bulldog, and then we stayed friends. He got me a job at Current TV with Al Gore, and I'm always teaching now. Like, I came in there, they're like, you read this script, and then you look at the camera, and it's like, oh, I can rap, man. It's like not having to remember your bars. It's right there. And I was killing it, and they're like, can he come back? And then they gave me a contract and like a substantial amount annually to come in once a week and write synopsises of their things and say them. I didn't have a writer. I was only a person that didn't have a writer or an editor. Let's just get up there and say whatever you want. We want to appeal to your demographic, but we don't want to pander. Like, we want them to watch because you understand, And then I was throwing my festival, and I had a deal with Warner Brothers, and I got lockjaw, and I got stressed out, so I had to come to the homie Davis and be like, yo, I know you put your ass on the line for me. You got me this contract. I signed a contract, but I need to back out. I literally couldn't open my mouth to eat a French roast. Like, I'm stressed the fuck out. I can't quit the festival. We already sold the tickets. I can't get out of my deal with Warner Brothers. I need some peace. And I was dating a crazy woman at the time. And he was like, all good. And I was like, fuck, I lost a friend. And just being a good human being, he stayed homies with me, would text me every now and then. He's like, man, I really want you to check out this thing in Colorado. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a music facility. I was like, so what? The Boys and Girls Club after school, I don't give a shit. And he kept telling me, and he's like, look, we're going to fly you out. You have a show in Denver. No, I had a show in Denver. He's like, we'll pay you to come up and do an interview for this documentary. I got there, and I saw the facility, and I was like, holy shit. This foundation has a lot of fucking money. They were like, we can't get kids in here. And I was like, well, fuck. You need an open mic. These motherfuckers think they can rap and put shit on SoundCloud and they MCs. Fuck all that. They gotta get outside. You gotta smoke some weed, get in a fight, fuck somebody up, get fucked up. All that. Get booed, get told you're not that good. See somebody. When I went to The Good Life, I used to see people be so dope. I didn't rap. I didn't open my mouth until I had something to say because I knew that the stage belonged to people who took it seriously. So I said, that needs to come back. And he's like, oh, great idea. Write a proposal. And I was like, I told my wife to write it because I didn't go to college. And she wrote a proposal. They funded it. And I was like, holy moly. So we did it. And I'm like, I'm Gen X. And I was like, these millennial, Gen Z motherfuckers, they don't want to touch grass. They don't want to come outside. And 200 rappers showed up. 200 people. It was the biggest event they had ever had. And then there was a guy, some weird guy named Jesse Elliott that worked there that greenlit it on the foundation side. And he was like, you should do a mentorship the next day. I was like, nobody wants to talk to me. And I was like, all right, fine. And then I was meeting with rappers from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. that day. And I was like, whoa, I met a rapper from Wyoming. And he was like, you've always been like a father figure to me. My dad is this, and I think his dad is a mortician, and like blah, blah, blah. And like went into his life and like tears in his eye, like, thank you for it. And I'm like, I didn't even have a dad. This shit is crazy. And you're a white guy from Wyoming. Like, what part of, it was just me understanding that this culture has connected me and so many people in so many ways. So I was like, all right. And we did it. And Jesse, like, was a phantom. He would sit up in the rafters and watch. And, like, I had paid dues. I had people putting money into my festival. And they'd be like, no, you need this person. No, you, like, people always trying to tell you what to do. Like, I'm working for certain people, and you know, even though I know you came to me because I am the guy that built a festival from 5,000 to 30,000 people when you didn't think gangster rap and hip hop could. I did all that, and now you're gonna tell me what to do. Fuck you. So I was expecting that. Jesse just said, do whatever you want. Let the kids say what they want. You know, at first I said, Groundwaves, no cursing. You can't use the N-word. And some dude got up there and was like, sorry, Murs, but I'm a nigga. And we going, I was like, okay, this is your community. Y'all could curse. Like, here, you know what I mean? I was like, don't rap over your vocals. I had a meeting with somebody from the community. They were like, let people rap over. I'm like, okay, this is not my thing. And I learned that really quickly in Colorado. I just give it to the people. And so for me, it was something I did in between tours. Like maybe the narrative behind closed doors is that I'm washed. And it's like, I could still make a living being an artist and touring. I just have turned down tours because after that first season, I felt so fulfilled. COVID hit. I said, let's do it on Twitch. The foundation said, okay, we're going to give you the same funding and just stay at home and have people send in videos and broadcast it on Twitch. And when I started to open up the videos the MCs were sending in, I started crying. And I was like, oh, this is my calling. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm, performing via satellite and, LA Galaxy. I was doing all right during the pandemic, better than I thought. But this is what I wanted to do. And then during the pandemic, Jesse called me and was like, hey, man, I moved to Arkansas. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, you want to come to Arkansas and do Groundwaves? I'm like, Little Rock is rough, but he's like, no. It's like Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, Bentonville. You'll understand when you get here. I'm like, when I get there, it's the pandemic. He's like, nah, bro, this is a red state. You got to show up.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fun to me. And I grew up touring like South Dakota, North Dakota, places that nobody was touring in rap. Omaha, Nebraska, because of Atmosphere and Tech Nine and ICP and people that were touring those small markets. And when I got a big-time agent, I had one of the biggest agencies in the world, like Black Eyed Peas, Dave Matthews Band, we all had the same agency. And I was like, yo, can you get me a show in Farmington, North Mexico? And he's like, New Mexico? And he's like, what? He's like, you want to do tertiary markets? And I was like, yeah, I like small towns. I like people that are happy to see you because they don't get shit. And you put on a good show and they don't care how many radio hits you have. They just care that you're present and you're putting on a dope show. I love those markets. So when he said Springdale, I was like, yeah, I like going rapping places, And we came here and it was like, boom. And then he's like, you want to do it in Tulsa? And then it just became my life. And my homie Slug from Atmosphere was like, yo, you want to do this Red Rocks? And you want to do I'm like, nah, I got Groundwaves that day. Nah, and even if it was a little more money to go do a show, like, I don't like performing. I never did. The first group I was in, I wanted to be their manager, and then they broke up, and I was like, dang. They're like, you could rap. You're in the group now. That's exactly how it happened. And it was just always the door. I just followed the breadcrumbs. And so the feeling I got from paid dues, and I won't say any names of artists because I guess that's rubbing people the wrong way, but a lot of artists I gave their first shows. I think they think it's because I wanted to get credit for that. It's just I love doing that because nobody really did that for me. I always wanted to. I just love working with up-and-coming rappers. And even Groundwaves, Colorado, we had a thing where we do a bunch of songs, then we perform them all at a showcase. Motherfuckers wasn't showing up to sound check. And I said, look, man. Like, I showed them Living Legends in the first crew I was in, one of the first crews I was in. I'm like, this is them doing a sold-out show in Seattle right now for 2,000 people. I could be there right now, but I'm here with you. So I need you to take this fucking serious. I'm not here because I don't have shit else to do. I'm not here because I don't need the money. I'm here because I love my brothers and we made it, but that doesn't feel as good to me as being around hungry rappers, people that are dying to do this. I love that feeling. And yeah, there's nothing like it. So that's kind of how I walked into Groundwave. That's the whole Groundwave story, why I do it, how I did it, or how we did it. And that's the thing too, it's like Jesse and the foundations have been so, like, I had a lot of bad shit to say about billionaires before this, the 1%. I have never had anyone tell me that people can't say this, can't wear this, can't do this. Yeah. When Taylor Hobby got up here in Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, and said, I sucked my first dick when I was 13, I said, oh, shit. This is it. The Groundwaves getting shut down now. You can't say that shit. Nobody said a fucking thing. So I love working with the large corporations. I don't even like, nobody's ever like, I just did a show for a big corporation. And they're like, make sure you say this, make sure you wear this, make sure you say. Never once have they been like, hey, you better say Walmart every time you grab the mic. You better say Tyson Foods. You better say, you know, the Kaiser Foundation. Like, none of the funders have ever asked me. They didn't even review it. They don't care how many people show up. They want to organically, like, be somewhere and hear, like, a story. And because what we, you know, I am paid to be here from 5 to 9. But we be in the parking lot. I'll be taking calls from you on the weekends. I'll be calling you. I'll be talking to everybody as much as I can. I got Thought Fest. I mean, I just love this shit. And hip-hop was created to give a voice to the voiceless in this part of America and all the parts of America. Y'all have a lot to say, and y'all have a lot of talent. And to be dirty, it turns me on. It, like, gets me going. Like, that's what gets me going.
Yeah, make some noise for that, y'all. I didn't even intro this. For those of all the folks that's watching, welcome to KUAF live session. Obviously, we got Murs in the building. I'm Jasper Logan. I got my boy BAANG here with me, co-hosting. Man, Murs, that was beautiful. I feel like in your talks of like in your attempt to like teach and like impart wisdom upon people. And you talk a little bit about like hip hop and like, you know, sometimes hip hop artists, like they weren't taking it serious and like they're missing cues and all this stuff. Like, what is that thing that you feel like is missing from rappers nowadays, and how do you go about trying to teach them that?
Man, I can only talk one way. I've learned from the great Ryan Coogler not to co-switch. Niggas is mad sensitive, so I don't want to get beat up or have to fight anybody, but we need to learn as black men to disagree without being disrespectful. I think God is missing from a lot of things, but 1500 or nothing who are teaching kids how to make music came up in the church. I believe the name 1500 or nothing came because every church in LA wanted them to play, and they were like, it's $1,500 or nothing. So they're still in the church. I just don't know. I love Jesus, and Jesus walked around with a bunch of motherfuckers doing cool shit. The disciples weren't security. He touched people. He had real experiences. I don't think a lot of our legends in this game are able, because of fame, to go out and see what's going on in the community. There's still kids in church. The church I attend just had kids rapping the other day. Shout out to ECM Church in Los Angeles. Like, the kids are still in the church. It just doesn't sound like it. And Daryl Jennifer from the group Bad Brains, when I met him, he's 60-something years old, punk rock, but he's from D.C., I believe Southeast. He's like, man, punk culture is not black culture. Hip-hop is not in a color. It's youth culture. That's what keeps it going. And if you stay in touch with the culture and you align with the culture, instead of trying to shape it, guide it. I am here to guide it. I am not here to shape, mold. I'm here to teach through story, like I believe African tradition is, and a lot of just human tradition. We are an oral tradition. I am here to make myself accessible. And by the grace of God, I never got a platinum hit where I have to walk around with security and can't touch people. But it also comes from my mentor, like Dale, the funky homo sapien, telling me, because I always felt like I'm going to do this and I'm going to succeed. And I was like, how do you not be able to not go places? He's like, once you stop doing shit is when you have to stop doing shit. So I always went to the Slauson swap meet. My homies would be like, hey, bro, like, you can't be outside. You can't be at the Slauson swap meet. I was like, no, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to sign everything. And even I had to go to Best Buy 30 minutes early because when I was at the peak and I was on MTV literally every 30 minutes, I go to Best Buy, I go to a Dodger game. I couldn't move. My goddaughters would be mad, but I kept doing it. And when I made the choice to leave the major label system, that was a lot to do with it. I just want to be normal. And if you're not living a normal everyday life, I can see how from that perspective you think something is missing. Or to me, like, my studio's on Central and Adams. I'm there every day, like I got kids that I take to the parks in Inglewood to play basketball. I'm hearing what they're listening to. I'm seeing them. And a lot of them don't know who I am, so they feel comfortable telling me stuff. And, I don't like that.
So you don't feel like nothing's missing. You just feel like it's just part of
Adults,
like life.
Adults, yeah, I don't think nothing. I think it could be better. I think if you make yourself available, the culture's going to be fine without us. Thinking that we're integral to the success or the proliferation of hip-hop is a farce. It didn't need us to start. It needed us as young people, but it doesn't need us as elders to continue. I think the youth talk crazy about the elders too. And I'm like, I heard somebody say, rappers, blah, 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 if you're over 30. I'm like, bro, past 3 years, two of the best hip-hop albums from the Grammys have been Killer Mike, who's 40-something, and Nas, who I think is 50. Working with I think Nas is a great example. Him working with a younger person, and that young man working with his father, creating very relevant, very impactful hip-hop. I think more church couldn't hurt anyone, period. More love, more peace, more talking about shooting, less actual shooting, if that's what you have to do to get it off. More Call of Duty and more drill rap that doesn't result in people getting actually killed. I'm with all that. But, yeah, I don't think it's going to make it better. It will make it different. But I think hip-hop is in a great place. I mean, if you look at Tyler, the Creator, like, he is a virtuoso. And I don't know if he ever went to church. I would love to take him, though, Tyler, if you're watching.
Can we make some noise for Murs one time, please, you guys? Murs is dope. You've rapped. If anything I say is false, just butt in and correct me. But you've rapped on 7 of the 8 continents.
There's only 7 continents.
You rapped on 6 of the 7.
Yes.
Okay. I'm a rapper, bro. I'm not a theologian.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you've rapped on 6 of the 7 continents.
Yes.
You have 20 plus projects out.
Yes.
Okay. Every time I tell you a story about an artist that I really, really like, you come back with a story about a personal experience that you have with them, right? So there's a plethora, a wealth of knowledge that we all glean just from you physically being here. Like you mentioned, me and Jasper can call you on the weekend when you're with your family. If you're available, you're still going to answer the phone. So that's what we get out of this. What do you get out of coming here? You know what I mean? Being very intentional with us for the past 4 years. Like, my life has forever changed. I'm sure everybody can vouch. Even the people that just started coming here a few, months ago, let alone the ones that have been here for 4 years. Like, we're forever changed by an encounter with you. Like, what do you get out of this? Why come?
Oh, man. Purpose. I think 2 things. Like, I get to be in the humblest way possible. I get to be more like Christ, like just going and teaching people. But Jesus didn't get paid. I get paid to be here. But I'm starting to tithe, so I hope that counts. And also, like, in a selfish way, like, my kid is not in here. My kid is with me, but he is out there playing Roblox.
Shout out to Bishop.
He's going to listen to somebody in this room before he listens to me. And if I can influence or guide the generation that influences the generation after, which will be my children, and the generation that's going to have to take care of me, that's a plus. So there's a lot of selfishness in there. And for me, it's like fixing the hole I got. The people I looked up to when I came up, a lot of them didn't look out for me. And I swore that I would never be that way. Every opportunity I got, I tried to help somebody else that I had absolutely nothing to gain from helping them. And even now, I get paid to do Groundwaves. It's funded, but that's just for my time and my knowledge. Whether you, like I said, it doesn't matter if 2 people show up or 2,000 people show up to Groundwaves, I get paid the same. We've done this 4 years, and it didn't stop until I said I wanted it to stop. I could keep collecting a check if I didn't care, but I didn't think that this continuing in this form was best for the community. So what I get out of it is getting to see growth, like being a coach. What I say, community organizer, advancing the culture of hip hop. This has done so much for me, and every time I get
Yeah, hold on. That was, yeah.
community organizer, advancing the culture of hip hop.
Hey, coach.
Come on, y'all didn't catch that. One more time.
Coach.
They waking up now. They waking
What a
up. One more
jacket.
time.
Community organizer, advancing the culture of hip hop.
Makes noise.
Shout out to
Makes
Lee,
noise.
who gave me the name Coach. But I always stay humble. Like the OGs and being a coach, I get to advance hip hop. And anytime I get a little big headed, I always think like fucking Kool Herc made all this shit up in a fucking basement of the projects, or whatever, in the Bronx in 1973. Motherfuckers plugged speaker wire into a phone pole or a street light and spun on their heads and got paid nothing. And now I get to tour the world and get paid to teach it. I am nothing and nobody without trying to pay what they did for me forward. All those young people from the Bronx that literally created this shit out of poverty, desperation, and nothing for clout. And that's another thing. People have demonized clout. That was real clout. If you came up into the projects and wanted to grab the mic at a party, you had to have clout. You couldn't walk in the Latin Quarter or go into a graffiti yard and do a piece if you didn't have clout, when clout meant something. And that's what if I want anything, I'm still in it for the clout, the real like, oh yeah, like BAANG got a platinum record. Shout out to my man Murs. That's worth everything. And when a lot of the people I've helped over the years think I'm mad because I didn't get a feature, I don't give a fuck about it. I'm mad at the most because you didn't get, hey, shout out to this dude for blah, blah, blah. Or you didn't do it for somebody else that wasn't related to you. When you do it for people in your crew, it's not the same. When you help somebody that you benefit absolutely nothing off of, that's amazing. And to me, that's what that culture is, because how did you learn graffiti? From your OGs. How did you learn breakdancing? You had to join a crew. It was tribal. It was how humans really work. Tribal, community. It's all about community. And the American government has done a lot to pervert that. And like where I come from, I grew up with a bunch of Crips. Shout out to the Bloods and all that shit. But community, revolution, and progress. You know what I mean? And they perverted it, and it became something very violent and destructive from something very pure. And as I meet Crips that are 60 or 70 and they tell me like their original intentions and things like that, I'm amazed. And I'm like, oh, that's why I like doing it with Groundwaves, because I was raised in gang culture, but I see a lot of the good in it. I want to put everybody on. That's why I tell Groundwaves, let's mob out to Colorado. Like, we're a big gang, if you want to call it that, but we're a family, we're a tribe. Groundwaves ends in Arkansas, but you can always go to Colorado. You can always hook up with somebody from Tulsa. When we get it to Africa, when we get it to Dallas, I just want to build a tribe, a community, what hip-hop started out as, and hopefully without, like, you can have rivalry without the beef. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have the disagreement without the disrespect.
You talk about Groundwaves as it's coming to a close, and even like creating something. I feel like a lot of times when we see people create something, they hold on to it for as long as they can. They try to milk every inch out of it, for as long as they can. Where did that come from you to be like, nah, this is when to let it go. This is when to stop it. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's like Groundwaves. When you rap, it's called a flow. Even though somebody tried to take that from hip hop and create this flow state shit, that's rap. Give hip hop our shit back, bro. It's being in the flow, like you can feel it. And like, I love the ocean. I'm a West Coast kid. Like, surfing is like, to me, like such a great metaphor for life.
You surf?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay.
I just admire that. And when I meant the mentality is kind of like hip hoppers.
Did you crowd surf today?
I did crowd surf today.
Hey.
I did. I have tried to surf, and I did that again today. But yes, going with the flow, and I was just like, all right, looking at you and looking at Bang, looking at some of the MCs I'm here, like, what else can this community use to benefit? And not to pat myself on the back, but I have like different skill sets. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this needs a festival, and I can do that. Maybe this needs a producer. Maybe, I'm trying to see what the scene needs, and it's kind of like back to like, we've gotten very away from indigenous or just real life. Like, you grow stuff in certain season. Everything has a season. Yeah. The Bible talks about it. I'm sure the Quran mentions it. Like, it's just a universal truth. And if you try to always harvest and hold on to something, you're going to destroy the harvest. So I think this has had its season, and I'm listening to the community, and I'm feeling and just being in tune. That's a part of being able to be touched. I don't have 5 security guards around me. I don't have to worry about me stepping out of line and getting sued. Like, I don't blame people for having security. I get it. You know what I mean? When people talk shit, oh, this rapper said this, and now he has a bunch of security. Not only could be dangerous for him, but it could be dangerous for the public. Like, so I get it, but I'm blessed enough to not have a hit record and not be super famous, and I can still feel our community. And it was just, it's time. And I have options. Like, I'm a hustler too. Like, my plan before Groundwaves was to stop rapping and run my family's dry cleaners. It's been a business in South Central for 70 years. My streaming checks, my publishing checks, like, I'll be all right. I own some property. Like, I've invested wisely. I don't have to do anything. I can still afford to do what I want to. I just signed a deal to stream on Twitch for Universal Music Group. So, like, I do that so that Colorado Groundwaves, the funding is not there. I did this whole 6 months of Groundwaves out of my pocket, sleeping on Mitchell James' couch, because I want to grow that community. Just because the funding's not there, Mitchell called around, we found a store, the store called Culture Street, and they were like, yeah, we're called Culture Street because we're for the culture. You could do it for free here. One of the MCs like, you could use my PA. And I just flew myself up there. As soon as I leave Tulsa on Friday night, I finished the one-on-ones, I fly myself to Colorado, crash on Mitchell James' couch, and I do my one-on-ones in the morning. We do it at night, and I fly home to my family on Sunday because I wanted to finish what I started. And I believe in giving back. And, I've been blessed, so I can be a blessing. Like, for me, I'm not going to exclude anyone. For me, is really a lot of it is Christ-centered, and in that way, it's just not, I cuss, I do a lot of things. But that is just given to this community that has given me a life. I've seen the world all because I could rhyme words. I've made friends for life because I could rhyme words. I've changed lives. I've literally made millions of dollars. My kids are going to be okay. I've been able to adopt a black child out of potential foster care because of rap. Like, I had the money. They called us, and I was like, oh, cool, 25 bands? Got it.
I feel like that's crazy because I feel like we don't see a lot of rappers give that much credit to hip-hop anymore. You know what I mean? In that sense, like, it's this life-changing genre. Like, it's this, like, it has all of these sort of, like, transcendent values. We don't really see hip-hop get that sort of credit outside of hip-hop. It's kind of treated as this, like, as the lesser form, as a lesser art form. You know what I'm saying? But, like, the way you talking about it now, it's like it gives it that, like, it's almost like comparable to like painting or, you know what I mean, all these other higher art forms that people might say.
I think it's because it's not a higher art form. You don't need necessarily money to do it, or like our form of painting is graffiti. Like, everything we have is very DIY, very accessible. So it is seen as like the art form of the proletariat, but it is now it's become the foundation for anything in the world. When I go to the New Orleans schools or Crenshaw High, I used to tell those black kids and brown kids, like, you are the future, because McDonald's may not respect hip hop, but they need it. Like, who wrote I'm Loving It? We know who did that. That's Pusha T. Like, who sells Coca-Cola? Who sells Nike? We do. So they may not, but shout out to Crystal Bridges, because they put it in a museum on a regular basis, not just once a year. Like, I've seen 2 dope hip-hop exhibits one of the most amazing museums in the world. Like, we're getting there, but as we get higher, we can't forget. That's why Groundwaves is the roots. It's the, yeah, but I don't know, like, I'm glad that we're not a higher art form. But I speak of it.
In the sense that it's more accessible to people.
It's more community-based. Yeah. And the less we believe in the record companies and need the record companies, they're a tool. They are not the gatekeepers.
I got one last question, unless you got.
Yeah, I got one more too. You want to hit it and then?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think to Jasper's point, Murs, like it's interesting because I feel like you embody hip hop. You know 100%. What I'm saying? Like, 100%. Yeah, we can snap it up for that. But from the songs that you write, the storytelling, the intentional mentorship, this pay it forward mentality. I mean, me and Jasper were on stage at a Momentary show a few summers ago, and I was there when Killer Mike, the last rap Grammy award winner, looked at you in the crowd and said, "It's Rap Jesus." Like, I don't even know how many people were out there, probably like 5,000 people. And not everybody, he saw you, and you know what I mean? And so, like, obviously, not only do I feel like this, but your peers. And so my question is, when we think about hip-hop today, there's so many other things that I feel like you have to consider. Your social media presence, your image, who you're making music for. Like, what's your advice to somebody, be it a hip-hop artist or a painter or a chef that wants to, like, create something and share it with the world? What's your advice to someone who wants to, like, put something out there, and how do you stay pure, or like how do you stay true to the essence of whatever it is that you're doing, like you stay true to hip hop? Does that question make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to, number one, like, have fun. You know, it has to be fun. When I got to meet Damon Dash, who was someone I looked up to a lot when I grew up, he was like, like, the money and all that was cool, but we just wanted to do cool shit. Like, that's what hip-hop, like, being fresh, that term, being dope, it was about being fresh. So if you're a chef, like, you're not doing it to cook shit that people don't like, but you're also not doing it to become McDonald's. You know what I mean? And if you are, that's great, but there's a school for that and there's a route. But if there's some art to what you're doing, do what pleases you. Tap into the divine source and let it flow. Once again, the flow. And put it out there. Let your social media flow, you know? And it's not for your personal life. It's not for you to count how many likes you have. It's for you to flow through. I had to remind myself, like, I stood on a street corner in Berkeley, California, many a days, possibly over 100, more hundreds, selling a cassette tape. And what I liked about that was that when I got shit on, which was, sometimes I would make one sale in 8 hours. But I like people having to be able to tell me no to my face. You didn't get to troll me in the comments or just scroll by my shit. I know you heard me, you had to hear me, and I had my shot. It's harder with social media because you don't feel that rejection. You can get caught in a one-way thing, so it's really hard for y'all. And that's another reason I don't judge the youth. Like, it's different. It's different. I can't just point my finger and say, y'all don't do this and y'all don't do that. I don't know what it's like to be you because I was outside at a different time. You guys are outside and inside simultaneously. There's some weird shit happening. So, but all I can say, what never fails is authenticity. NWA came out talking about Compton, fuck the police. And for y'all think that's normal. My mother was like, they're never going to go anywhere. No one wants to hear the F word, the B word on the radio. They're crazy. And now that's all people want to say. That's all the radio will play. They bleep it out, but they don't even play clean music no more. They don't play, I would say, a record. Not even the R&B is clean anymore. But that started with Ice Cube being so fed up that fuck it. And a white kid in the suburbs is like, what did he understand about that? It was the authenticity in that. They understand at a base level, oh shit, anger, disenfranchisement. I feel picked on at school. My dad doesn't understand me. That makes me angry. And somehow those frequencies align because Ice Cube was being authentic. There was no way in hell, I live very close to where he grew up. and it used to be a lot worse. I never could see a kid sitting in South Central California like, yeah, watch when Lincoln, Nebraska get a hold of this Fuck the Police record. It was just authentic. So you can't sit there when you're posting on your selfie and try to direct, this is who's gonna feel it, you never know. You just gotta be yourself. And I know it's unpopular, but something I learned positive from Kanye is to be shameless. Not negative, not the hate speech, all the shit, but pre that, like early on in Kanye's career when people just thought he was arrogant and annoying. He was shameless. Like when people say, have you no shame? And we shame people for having no shame. You shouldn't have shame if you're being authentic and you're not hurting anyone else. Have no shame. It is God's gift. It is all our connection. We need you to say what you say. And when you have no shame, have no fear, but also there's a humility to that. Be vulnerable. Be able to hear like, hey, man, you're not in the pocket. You have a very authentic message, but it's not on beat. Either do spoken word or line your shit up. You know, is that you have to be, okay, humble enough to be like, okay, all right. I wasn't the best rapper in my crew, still not, you know? But when motherfuckers in my crew would shit on me or diss me, I'm like, all right, because I respect you. And that was another Kanyeism, you know, like, and I'm sure he didn't invent it, but like, you can't take advice from people who aren't where you want to be. That's one thing that does annoy me about Groundwaves. Is just like, I would tell some people in the community something and then they'll go listen to somebody else. I'm like, why are you listening to that motherfucker? Like, I've done almost everything an MC can want to do. I've done a festival, I've made a movie, I've had a major label record deal, I've worked with the biggest producers, I've worked with the best rappers in the world. If you're going to listen to anyone, listen to me. If you're not going to listen to me, listen to your heart, but don't listen to that motherfucker over there. Like, that's one thing that's not you, Bang. Listen to Bang. Listen to his music. But that, yeah, man, like, I don't even know where we were, but
that's perfect. I was gonna ask a similar question, like if you had any last piece of advice you would give to people, but
yeah, man, do cool shit, have fun. Like I say, like dance like nobody's watching. Say what nobody is saying, or say what everybody's saying in your own way, but just be authentic. Like that always resonates. You know, that's what we loved about Wayne, Ye,
yeah.
Jermaine Dupri, like it's just, you know, it's like Outkast. Like when shit comes out, it's like, whoa.
Out of all the hip hop, I feel like that's the biggest through line in hip hop is like authenticity. You know, that's what like all the greats have in common. All the great albums that we love is this like that authenticity.
And you have to be good. Yeah. Like if you want longevity, you could be different and make a splash. You know? But to have longevity, you have to be good. You have to give a fuck. Yeah, Tyler ate a roach. That was really cool. But it's not as cool as the Igor album. Yeah. You know, it's not as cool as Flog Gnaw. You know what I mean? Like, Kendrick did a hell of a freestyle over Monster, but it's not as cool as Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. You know what I mean? It's cool that Drake was a kid actor, you know? But to me, it could never touch Nonstop or Scorpion. You know what I mean? Like, you could do something to get the foot in the door, but, you know, Eminem was like, ooh, I dyed my hair blonde. Hi, my name is, I say crazy shit. But he had to be able to fucking rap. Yeah, there's no, like, early on, I used to get talked about, like, why isn't there a gay rapper? Hip-hop is homophobic. Hip-hop is blah, blah. I'm like, it may be a lot of that, but if there was a motherfucker that talked about sucking dick in the right way, he will go. He may not go in certain communities, but Kevin Abstract came out with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was at Flog Gnaw. He said, Heath Ledger with some dreads. I just gave my nigga head. I seen 10,000 non-gay motherfuckers. He went, Heath Ledger with some dreads. I just gave my nigga head. Kids was going nuts in the mosh pit. I was like, yo, being a kid from the 80s and raised in a very homophobic home, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Because Kevin Abstract is dope as fuck. And that's what I love about hip-hop. You can say what you want. hip hop is called misogynistic, and it is. We have a lot of work and apologies to make to women. But right now, women run hip hop. Women run Tulsa Groundwaves, especially when I first got there. You just have to be the dopest, most confident, and you have to have that clout. Not the likes, not the views, but the actual like, oh, give me a mic. And that's what I think I have. Like right here, right now, I was playing around. Like I did songs I haven't really done, but like I did Pussy and Pizza last. Like I know if I get in front of anybody, I can rock a crowd. I've had to open for Willie Nelson because I know what the fuck I'm doing. And that's why I created Groundwaves, for you to get the reps in so that when someone gives you a microphone and you're at wherever the fuck you're at, you look like you're rapping at a white church. Songhouse.
Oh, the House of Songs?
House of Songs. I was like, oh man, this motherfucker done became a fucking...
I was at the Momentary.
Yeah, see? But you rock.
Yeah.
And that's what hip-hop will give. I tell people all the time, Groundwaves may not make you a platinum rapper, but next time you go into a job interview,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, all right, let me spit you this 16. I'm overqualified for the position because, like, you know what I mean? And that's what hip-hop will do for you. You walk with your chest up, you look fresh, and you rock shit, you know? That's what an MC is. That's what a B-boy is. That's what a graph artist is. That's what a DJ is.
Make some more noise for Murs, y'all. Murs, I'm going to get you in trouble. Kendrick or Drake? I'm joking. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for listening to KUAF Live Sessions. I'm Jasper Logan with my boy Bang and Murs. All right, we out of here.